Before we begin, please imagine the bell notification is on and you're subscribed to Huna Stories. The dining room was unbearably quiet, save for the scraping of silver on china. My wife's words lingered, sharp and uncompromising. Say sorry to your brother or leave my house. She had set the scene like a prosecutor, expecting confession and contrition. My brother leaned back, elbows on the table, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth, entirely convinced of his triumph. I said nothing, not immediately. The tension in the room felt almost physical, pressing against my chest. I watched my wife's fingers tighten around the wine glass, the subtle twitch in her jawline, the practiced expectation in her posture. The brother's eyes met mine briefly, mocking, measuring, underestimating. Memories surfaced unbidden, the small humiliations, years of favoritism, casual slights, and whispered accusations. Parents who never saw my efforts, always seeing only his success. My brother had been groomed, consciously or not, to occupy the high ground, and everyone at the table had accepted it until now. I remained seated, letting the silence do its work. Each tick of the clock exaggerated the unspoken pressures, the past converging with the present. The wife's insistence was a demand for spectacle, and yet she did not anticipate my quiet calculation. I was underestimated, as always. When I stood, it was deliberate and slow. The chairs scraped the floor softly, and all eyes turned to me. I crossed the room with calm, measured steps. My brother straightened slightly, sensing movement but not intent. He had no idea what was coming, no clue that the truth I carried could pierce his self-assured arrogance in a single, perfectly chosen sentence. I looked him in the eye and spoke. "You never asked how much of my life you've taken for granted." That was all. No shout, no flourish. The words were quiet, restrained, factual, and lethal in their simplicity. The room froze. My wife's face flushed, a mixture of anger and disbelief. My brother's smirk faltered, tiny fissures of uncertainty creeping into the armor he had built over decades. The authority shifted without fanfare. I had taken the moral high ground silently, without spectacle, without aggression. The sentence held up a mirror to years of unacknowledged truths, and it reflected more than one person's failings. The wife's demand, meant to usurp control, now highlighted her inability to foresee the consequences of her orchestration. My parents shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between us. Other relatives, present but previously passive, stiffened. My single sentence had fractured appearances, rearranged alliances, and left an unspoken question hanging in the air. Who truly held leverage? Now I returned to my seat, calm but inwardly aware of the subtle tremor my words had set in motion. Silence replaced the expected confrontation. Conversation moved on around us, but the tension lingered like a shadow, unshakable, unavoidable. I thought about the cost. No triumphant victory, no celebratory gloating. The brothers' dominance was destabilized, but the family bonds had splintered in ways that would not easily mend. My wife's authority had been undermined, subtly but undeniably, yet she retained power in her gaze, in the network of expectations she had built. The quiet aftermath was more telling than any shouting match could have been. Eyes avoided mine. The brother's usual confidence was muted. He spoke less, measured more. My wife, still flushed, returned to her composed posture, but the satisfaction she had expected from my submission was gone. Everyone had been forced to recalibrate. I sipped water and considered the future. Would this fracture heal, or would it expand quietly, influencing future decisions, subtle interactions, family gatherings? I was unsure. I had shifted power without destroying it, revealed truths without annihilating anyone, yet the moral terrain remained murky. Victory and consequence were intertwined, neither fully claimed, both lingering like smoke. No one at the table said another word about the apology. I had not delivered it, nor had I left the house. I had achieved leverage, but the cost was ongoing uncertainty, the kind that gnawed quietly at conscience and expectation alike. There was no resolution, no moral tidy-up, only the quiet knowledge that the balance had altered. And as the night wore on, I realized that in this household, in this family, there were no easy wins, only subtle shifts, quiet reckonings, and the constant awareness that power, like respect, like loyalty, was fragile, temporary, and earned anew with every interaction. We ate in silence, not peace, not triumph, just the tense, bitter recognition that everything had changed and that nothing could ever truly be the same again.